Hey everyone, my name is Amel. It's so good to see you guys again, and I am super excited for today's webinar. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to just, get in, get settled, get ready to learn a little bit more about how they can scale their business. So, the purpose of this webinar is to be like a level two, like the next step. So, it's not going to have a lot of information about how the program works. We did previously do a webinar on that, another refresher on Utility Connect 101, exactly how the program works. So if you haven't had a chance to check that out yet, we're actually going to have a link posted in the chat so that you guys know exactly where our playlist is. You can take a look at any of our previous webinars to either learn a little bit more about the program or see some different topics that we've covered. But today, again, we're going to focus on a little bit more advanced way to position the program amongst your clients. So again, just going to give everyone a few minutes to get in. Anyone who is already here, super excited that you're here. I'd like to see a little bit more about where are you watching from? What state do you do business in? Definitely would love to hear a little bit more about you, how long you've been using Utility Connect, any feedback that you guys want to give. Absolutely, we'd love to hear it. Don't be shy. Good morning, Stephanie. Where are you operating out of? Okay, Redmond, Oregon. Beautiful, beautiful. Probably see just a lot of beautiful nature over there. I've probably mentioned it in previous webinars before, but the Pacific Northwest, it has my heart. Like, absolutely just gorgeous environment over there. And I just absolutely adore it. So you are super lucky. I hope you are enjoying it up there. We are, and you guys probably have heard about this before. Our corporate office is located in Dallas, Texas, and it's getting pretty hot. It's June, so it's already 90 degrees over here. But I think a storm cell is coming in because it's been a little bit muggy lately. So if we have any agents that are joining us from Texas, you probably share in that. Any agents with curly hair, you probably understand my pain as well. All right. Well, definitely going to give everyone a few more minutes to get in. Oh my goodness. Yep, it is super hot in Phoenix right now, for sure. And they've got a dry heat, so I know they're enjoying that. Okay, Brian, I see you're joining us from Richmond. Awesome, awesome. How's the weather over there for you? He's probably having a wonderful, just beautiful spring day, lightly warm, the first beginning of summer. Ooh, okay, Frida. Punta Gorda, Florida. Beautiful. I need to go back to Florida. This year's EXPCon is actually going to be in Salt Lake City, which is super exciting. I know that we had the pleasure of the last couple of years being in Miami. That was definitely super fun, being able to connect with all of you guys and the beautiful beach right there. So definitely miss that. But it's really nice to be able to visit different areas. More agents in different parts of the country have access to come to EXPCon. So I really like what they have done. We've had a lot of variety between Vegas, Miami, and now Salt Lake. Super excited. So, also drop in the chat if you guys are planning on joining us for EXPCon this year. Super excited to see all of you guys again. And we always try to keep it fun and interesting. So, we have some surprises for you guys. definitely some new swag that we're going to be bringing, especially if you've had the last couple of years of attendance. You might have seen some of the Stanley Cups that we brought in. We also have brought in, a couple different things, couple different bags, hats, different fun swag for you guys. And this year we're going to change it up a little bit. So, really excited to see what you guys think of the new surprises that we're bringing with us. But we've had a few minutes, so I definitely want to get into the meat and potatoes of everything. I know you guys are really excited to learn a little bit more about how you can be more strategic with how you're positioning Utility Connect. So, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump right in. But of course, this is going to be recorded. So, you guys will be able to go back and rewatch it in case you miss it. Again, we've got that YouTube playlist. So, definitely check us out there, see some of the other topics that we've covered. But let's go ahead and jump right in. So, we're going to start with why top agents systemize value. And what exactly does that mean? All agents have value to provide, but everyone is looking to become a top agent. And we've noticed that top agents, they're the ones that are providing value consistently. So they've basically nailed it down to a science and they follow some of the steps that we're going to review in today's webinar to continue providing that consistent value. And the difference between an agent who might just be starting out, still figuring out their process, or maybe they've had a little bit of variety and they're looking to become more consistent and more valuable to their client base, the difference is process. So, in terms of Utility Connect, most agents that are not utilizing these strategies, they are typically waiting until a client is asking about utilities and home services for the new property before they say anything about Utility Connect or any of the other resources that they offer. So they're waiting until the client is asking, who should I use for internet? How do I transfer utilities? Do you have any recommendations for movers? And some agents, they do come prepared. They have different preferred vendors or anything like that that they are including in their process. But top agents are solving these problems before the client even thinks to ask. And that is the best position to be in. You're coming from a confident position where you're already anticipating your client's needs. So that's really one of the biggest differences. Now, here, Utility Connect becomes part of your transition process. It's not like an afterthought or something that you forget about until you get that courtesy notification. It's something that you're actively and strategically utilizing through your process. The goal is not to have you guys do more work, but it's to create a client experience that feels more comprehensive. And you're elevating the entire experience for the client, but it actually reduces the number of tasks on your plate. So, the first way that top agents do this is stop selling the features of the program. You are selling the outcome. So, for example, a lot of agents will say something like, I have a utility concierge, they're going to help you set up services. And they don't say anything about it until they get that courtesy notification or whatever it may be. They think about it when they remember it or when it becomes relevant, and they're just giving the basics. That is kind of where we start, which is why I want to help you guys in transitioning that process so that you can, again, elevate that experience. You can make it a little bit more impactful for not only your client, but for your experience as well. So rather than saying something like, yeah, I've got that utility concierge, the best way that you can put it, or just an idea for you guys, is something like this. I have a team that helps my clients save several hours during their move by coordinating utilities and helping them compare providers. Right away, that is such a much more confident way to deliver information about Utility Connect and also level expectations. So you're letting them know that it's more than just utilities. There's home services. You're going to have a dedicated concierge agent that is going to, take you through the entire length of this process, and they're going to save you time through it as well. So it's a completely different experience that the client is now expecting to receive. Whereas, Utility Connect, our name kind of makes the assumption that it's just going to be about utilities and we're going to directly connect them. And then your clients might come back to you with feedback that the experience was different than they expected. And so we definitely want to make sure that the messaging drives those referrals for you, that it not only creates the results for you, but it also guarantees that amazing experience for your clients. I've got a couple more examples of how agents position it currently, or how some agents are positioning the program versus how our top agents are positioning the program. So, another way that is just kind of like a basic positioning is, hey, you're going to get a call from Utility Connect. Honestly, it's great that you're remembering to mention that as part of your process. It is really important to make sure that clients are informed ahead of time. But you can also have a strong positioning by saying, hey, this is part of my closing process. I provide every client with a moving concierge, and they help simplify this transition into your new home. That is so different because you notice that this now attaches the service to you. It's part of your process. So, Utility Connect is not really the focal point. It's more so you have already accounted for this aspect of the process. You have already prepared in advance to make sure that your client has the best possible experience. Because that's what we want for you. We want you as the agent, the trusted advisor through this process, to have the spotlight. We want them to know how much you have prepared and how much you have poured into this experience for your home buyer so that everything is taken care of for them and you have made it as easy as possible. We know that you are doing so much work throughout this process. So we want to help position Utility Connect as like your tool, something that you are offering to your clients. And that will be a much more powerful experience for you. And so I've also created some effective client scripts that are things that you can utilize when you are going through this process and when you should utilize them. So there's a couple points that are going to be important to use as like markers in your process to know when to talk about this program. These are important milestones that will help you kind of have a quick reminder for yourself that this is going to be an effective time to tell your client about Utility Connect. So I know we always tell our agents, hey, you can even introduce this service to your clients during your buyer consultation. But what does that actually look like? So something that you can say really quickly during your buyer consultation is, one thing my clients really appreciate is that I don't just help them buy a home. I help them get settled into it. So, as part of my process, you're actually going to receive access to a complimentary moving concierge that helps coordinate utilities, internet, and other home services. Wow, chills. So, that's just one example of ways that we can help you with verbiage or different cues within your process to really strategically introduce the program, how it's going to be helpful to the client, and why it sets you apart from other agents. So that's one moment when you can maximize that milestone and introduce your clients to Utility Connect. Another one is once you guys go under contract. So once that offer is accepted, you guys are under contract, you know that you're heading towards closing. You can also use that as a marker and say something like, hey, now that we're under contract, I'm actually going to introduce you to my concierge team. They take several of the moving related tasks off of your plate so that you can focus on the exciting parts of your move. Oh my goodness. Wow. Your client is going to be blown away. They weren't even thinking about the end of the transaction. You guys just got under contract. So the fact that you guys are already thinking ahead about that, that's really going to be impressive to your client and also show that you have already taken into consideration removing any struggles or bottlenecks that they might experience. So just a really quick mention and how effective it is, how it makes your client feel. That's really what the client is going to remember at the end of the transaction. So, the thought there. And then another script that you can use is during closing week. You can say something like, hey, there's already a lot happening this week. My goal is to make this as stress free as possible for you. So I've arranged for my concierge partner to reach out and help coordinate your home services. Super quick and easy. And we can provide all of these to you. So feel free to drop in the chat if you guys would like, a list of these different scripts. I know we've got some that we send out already, but we're thinking of more materials that can be helpful to you. We're constantly creating. We're taking your feedback, and we want to be able to provide material that can be tailored to everyone's unique flow. Not everyone may use each of these touch points as an opportunity to talk about Utility Connect, but these are great alternatives to just waiting to when you get the Utility Connect reminder. definitely multiple opportunities where you can position this as a strong and efficient part of your process. So another time that you guys can discuss Utility Connect is when it's just a typical conversation where you're referring a client to Utility Connect. So this one is the most dynamic one. It's one that you can kind of fit in whenever works best for you and your process. So if your client happens to ask about utilities, or maybe they make a reference to, hey, do you know where I should start when looking for insurance? It can be anywhere from start to finish within your process of, your home buying process for these clients. You can mention one of the things that my clients often tell their friends about is how easy the move was because they felt really supported by all of the resources that I provide. If you know anyone planning to move, I definitely want the opportunity to help them. Um, you can talk about it that way, or you can also mention to your client, like, hey, as we're planning for your move, we definitely want to make sure that you're feeling supported through this process as well. So that one is a little bit more dynamic. It can be utilized at any point during your process with the current client, or you can also use it during, a referral conversation. So if the client is referring someone to you, if you are just, outlining the different services that you provide, that one is a little bit more dynamic and can be used that way. And then one of my favorite follow up scripts is when you have already closed the deal and that client is already in the home. You have already gone through this process with them once, or maybe you're doing annual check ins or something like that. We're trying to give you a little bit more dynamic verbiage. You can say something like, hey, I was just checking in to see how you're enjoying the home. A lot of service contracts renew this time of year, so if you need help reviewing options or rates, remember that my concierge team can assist with that. So that helps answer the question, is this a resource that I can continue to utilize? It also makes it relevant, especially if you hadn't had a chance to use it with a client last year. Maybe this year, when you do your annual follow up, it can be a program that you can offer to them. So, just being a little bit more dynamic in the way that we talk about Utility Connect and the scripts that we can provide for you to help keep these conversations confident, strong, you're prepared for these conversations, and you have little blips of verbiage that you can use. Sometimes that's the hardest part is just determining what is the best way to talk about Utility Connect. So, those are a couple different scripts that you can use. And the reason why these are important is the positioning itself. So, some agents, they're just mentioning Utility Connect once, but our top agents are mentioning Utility Connect multiple times throughout their process. So, the first stage is during your consultation. You can say, hey, I provide concierge level support, I provide white glove support during this process. Stage 2, when you're under contract, you can say, "Hey, here's one of the resources that you're gonna receive in my process." So, one less thing that you have to worry about at all. Resource number 3 or stage number 3 is going to be during that closing week, you can do another reminder that's like, "Hey, here's what's happening next." I know that clients love that because there's already so much to juggle, so much to think about within the transaction itself and just preparing themselves for this move. So also having, that steady force that is just making sure that they're prepared, they have everything they need. You've already thought of everything ahead of time. That is such a reassurance in that process. So that's the time when you can say, hey, here's what's going to happen. Stage 4 is going to be part of your post closing conversation. Again, a little bit more dynamic times when you can bring up Utility Connect. It can be as easy as, like, hey, how's everything going? But it can also be something like, let's make sure that you're getting the best value. Let's make sure that, if you have any friends or family that can benefit from this program, that they're feeling supported as well. Like, anytime you can identify an opportunity where this would be helpful to your buyer or strategic for you to utilize, you should absolutely take the initiative to have that conversation. Just shows that you are being thoughtful as an agent and you're considering all of these different aspects. So, definitely great opportunities for you there. And again, those are the ways that these top agents are positioning Utility Connect as that strategic tool that is supporting their clients and also supporting their business. It has become one of those things that you offer. It is part of your process. So, definitely utilize that tool. It's already in your toolkit. And so again, this just gives you a little bit of a timeline on the different times that you can position Utility Connect throughout this process. And then building it into your closing workflow. that can be something that can be challenging as well. You want to make sure that you have the right process that you can replicate time and time again, that's going to be easy for you. So, here are a couple different ways that you can do that. So every client is going to receive a Utility Connect referral. So not only are they going to get an email from us, but some top teams, they are sending out an email ahead of time. So, like their transaction coordinators are letting clients know, hey, this is part of our process. This is a program that we have, a resource that's available to take care of you during this time in the transaction. So, as we approach closing, there's already a resource in place that's going to help you navigate, utilities and home services. It's going to save you time and save you money. So it's really great for you to already have something like that prepared because again, the credibility comes from you as the agent. So that's one of the tricks that these teams are using is that they actually have their own communications that go out first. And then again, you have that timeline already. So different times where you can follow up, talk about Utility Connect. You also know what times that certain services need to be connected. So depending on the type of transaction that you're doing, you may have a little bit of information from the seller's agent or the sellers themselves on when they plan to be out of the home, services all disconnected. So that will give you deadlines on when certain services need to be connected, and that will help you adjust your process. As a quick refresher, we automatically reach out to clients 2 weeks prior to closing, but I have had plenty of agents who suggest adjusting that timeline, right? So sometimes they'll want to actually make the introduction earlier, and there is a way to go about doing that. They also sometimes will say, hey, we need to actually push this back a little bit. And that's something that we can do too. So don't forget that our team is here to help you. That way, Utility Connect is actually fitting into your timeline. Communication is always going to be that biggest tool for you. So, again, if you want to introduce this earlier or later in the process, let us know and we can adjust that communication accordingly. And if you need any help creating these emails or creating these communications, that's also what we're here for. We want to make sure that you're not wasting time creating these from scratch, especially if we already have options available for you. And then you also get that closing reminder. So you know exactly when you guys are going to be closing. We reach out 2 weeks prior, but on closing day, you also want to make sure that everything's been connected already. So we send a reminder ourselves in regards to the utilities. We want to make sure that, the consent was provided, that clients have already gotten those all connected. Again, we're supporting them through that process. But on closing day, that's also a really good point to make sure that everything has been taken care of. So this is a good time that you can follow up, a good time that you can reiterate the conversation if clients haven't gotten started yet, because we know that every transaction is different. There are some clients that actually don't connect with us until they have already closed with their agent. So anytime that is going to be best within your unique transaction flow, there's an opportunity at any of these stages, any of these timelines can work with introducing Utility Connect. And then, of course, use it for your post close check in. So, any agents who are following up after closing, you're maintaining relationships, annually, you're still reaching out to these buyers that you closed with previously. Not only is that a good opportunity to continue to offer value to them, but also you can use that referral script to see if anybody else might need help as well. And the biggest part of this, the biggest takeaway is that this consistency is what creates trust. Your system is what is going to create the consistency. So, we're just trying to help provide different opportunities and different ways to structure your workflow or different opportunities within your current workflow structure to just build this into your system. That way, it's a natural part of your process. You're used to having these conversations and they get easier over time. And so now what I'd like to discuss with you guys is a little bit more about the Utility Connect dashboard. I know that we've talked about it in previous webinars and we've kind of explained the changes that we've made and how it's been beneficial to our top agents, our top producing teams, how we take their feedback to get more information about their experience, their process to make our system better for you. So I'm actually going to pop out of my presentation here so that I can show you guys some of the changes that we've made to this dashboard. So this is one of the coolest things that I've seen so far. First, previously our dashboards had a lot going on. You guys might have seen, I know here, there's just like a little quick snippet there, but also here, you're able to see a bunch of different graphs. You're getting a lot of different information here, but we've made some adjustments. So up here in the top right corner, when you log into your dashboard, which if you're not sure how to get into your dashboard, let me know in the comments. I can definitely show you guys a little bit later on. But for those of you, again, who are already familiar, you know how to get into your dashboard where it's accessible either through exp enterprise, you click on our tile, or you're going directly to your utility connect website, or maybe you've even saved the direct dashboard link. Either way, you know how to get into your dashboard and you know that it's starting to look like this. So in the top right corner, you'll see your name. And usually, if you've had a chance to upload your photo, you'll have like your little icon up here. Today, for this example, I am Monica Foster, which is one of our top agents here in Texas. And so, again, previously, the dashboard had a lot of different features, a lot of different graphics. We have actually simplified it a little bit. So here is where you'll be taken after you click your name in the top right corner. You'll have some information here on how you can update your profile. So if you want to go ahead and add a photo, you can do that here. You can adjust how your name is displayed on your account. You can add your phone number. And then, of course, your email address will be here. You wouldn't be able to update this email address because typically this is the one that is helping to facilitate the automation that you have. So again, top agents, they're connected with SkySlope. We're automatically getting their clients. Again, one less step that they have to accommodate. Actually manually submitting these clients, they know that we're going to automatically get them. But a lot of agents want to add additional emails to their accounts. So either you have a transaction coordinator or an admin, or maybe you have a domestic team and you want some visibility with your partner. You can always put that email here. So this is a new section that we added to allow you to do that. So whatever your case might be, whatever your unique team setup might look like, you can add a secondary point of contact here now, which is definitely something that agents have been asking for a while. So this is where you can put that information. Next, if you want to reset your password, or maybe you want to update it to something else so that multiple members of your team have access to this dashboard. So again, if you have a large operations team, or maybe you have a couple different transaction managers, maybe they need to get in here and you want to set it to something else, you can always update your password here. And then for your preferences, this is the part that is really cool. And we just added this update. So you have your standard dashboard layout, which is what you guys are used to, where you have all these different graphs, all these different granular analytics. But now we've added a modern version. So if you had the opportunity to watch one of our previous webinars where we talked about why we made these changes, we talked about how our first dashboard before we made any of these upgrades was too simple. But with this dashboard, you have granular analytics on literally every aspect of your Utility Connect performance. So now that you can see all of those data points, a lot of agents have begun to identify what data points are most important to them. And they quickly, at a glance, want to be able to see the metrics that actually give them the information they're looking for about their business and actually move the needle for them. So that's what we sought to do with this modern layout. The cool part is you can always switch back and forth. So if you want to keep it standard, you absolutely can if that's what you're comfortable with. But you can also change it now to this modern layout, which is going to give you the most impactful metrics. So I've already switched mine to this modern layout. So it's going to look a little bit different where some of these graphs have been combined. So now you can see, like for clients specifically, we have combined the graphs that talk about how many clients we've received and how many of those clients have actually used the program. And there are some different filters here. So definitely if you want to make sure that you're seeing the all-time data or custom dates or whatever it is that you might be looking for, just make sure that you've adjusted that there. And then again, you're going to see these comparatively. You're going to be able to see how you've performed over time, kind of how things are doing for you so far. We've combined what is going to be most impactful for you, and then, of course, you have some information here, especially if your team spans a couple different states or whatever it might be, you'll be able to see where you've made the greatest impact and maybe where you have some more opportunity. And we can also do this across services specifically. So if you want to see how many services we've set up for your team in a given year, or how many services actually went on to be installed. So if you want an idea of like if clients are canceling services or what services are most important to them, you're going to have visibility on that here. And then you'll be able to see kind of, information about any kind of cancellation, information about the most popular services, what's most important to them, where these services were installed. So, again, all of the impactful metrics on what is important to your clients during closing. That can also be used strategically to make sure that you are mentioning the most important things. So, really quickly with this example, if I'm looking at Monica Foster's team, electricity is one of the most important services. Understandably, that's one of the core utilities. And second to that is internet. Internet is one of those services now that maybe was optional 20 years ago, but now it is almost as important as your typical utilities. Honestly, it's kind of like a fifth utility. So, this is another one of those opportunities where you can see, okay, so for my clients, electricity and internet are the two most important services. There's other services here. So, like, a lot of these clients are also looking at insurance. And if anything, now that I'm looking at this again, you actually have more clients interested in insurance than in their internet. And that's really fun to see that because that gives you insight. Okay, I have an opportunity here. My clients are obviously looking for ways to save money on insurance. So maybe we should start having this conversation earlier in the process. Again, this is going to give you real, tangible business insight that can help you create systems that are supporting your client through this process and maximizing the success that you have with Utility Connect. So, some really cool, interesting things that you can glean from this dashboard. And of course, we've got some metrics regarding your commission as well. So if you're interested in seeing how much you're generating from each particular service, where that revenue is coming from, how your revenue has performed over time, like your average per client, or how much you were paid year to year, or if you want to see the difference between what is pending, what is available, I mean, everything is going to be right here. But again, these graphs have been consolidated, so this is a little bit easier to navigate than the multiple dashboards that we had, multiple analytics. Again, you can always get granular whenever you want to, but this is an opportunity to combine some of the most impactful metrics here. So that is one of our favorite updates. So again, we've updated the dashboard layout and the different opportunities that you have here within your personal settings. You can also, of course, change your colors just for fun. Let's see what it looks like with purple. Okay, that's pretty cool. So you can change it and personalize it to what you like. Maybe we have a color that is most closely related to your personal brand. I actually just worked with an agent who their brand is kind of a more gold color. Maybe they want their dashboard to look like this. So, again, different opportunities for you to customize this for your workflow, your preferences, personalize it for you. We really want you to make it yours. Another really great update that we've made here is to the reporting. So, for those large teams, reporting is so important. Having a good understanding of how Utility Connect is performing for them, but also making sure that it's being done in a smart way, and a smart and effective way. So we took a hard look at this reporting section because let's be honest, we know that you guys want good reporting, but we know that you also don't want to spend hours building reports. Now, not saying that that's how long it took to create reports at Utility Connect within your Utility Connect dashboard, but sometimes even spending a few minutes on this, you don't have the time for that, especially as you're serving your clients. So, we listened to feedback from agents and teams that wanted to completely streamline the reporting experience. So now we've got these preset reports. This is going to make it so much faster and easier to generate these reports. They're simplified, so you can just grab and go based on what is most important to you. They're easily able to be downloaded, and then you can automate the dispatch. So it can consistently, week to week or month to month, go out to your transaction coordinator or your admin or anything, any member of your team that is keeping track of these reports so you guys can see your performance over time or your performance in a given month, whatever is going to help support your business better. And the dashboard, again, we want it to not only give you insight into how you're currently performing, but it should also tell you where your clients need attention. That's not to create another task on your to do list, but to help direction the growth that you're experiencing from this program and overall across your business, how it's performing in general. We want you guys to have that information and feel that support and also be able to take the information that's going to help you move forward within your business. So again, real business insight. And why these updates are important, just to kind of tie everything together, is that the agents who are scaling successfully are not just winning because they're working more hours, they're winning because they have systems that are built to support them. They have systems for communication, they have systems for client care, they have systems for follow up, and they have systems for tracking performance. So, Utility Connect is seeking to help create those systems. The dashboard gives you visibility into whether or not those systems are actually working, at least as you approach closing. So that was the goal behind these different updates that we've created for you. We wanted things to be more simple, streamlined, easier, faster to access, and easy to incorporate into your current workflow. So I'm really excited for you guys to get into the dashboard. That's why we wanted you to kind of mess around with these different sections and get comfortable because as we continue to add features, we want them to again be an easy, streamlined addition to your workflow. And so just a few more things to kind of discuss on top tips, strategies, different ways that you can really make this program work well for you. I wanted to also talk about how you can use Utility Connect to generate more referrals. So I know one of the scripts that we discussed earlier was a script that you can use to also tell your clients about how they can offer Utility Connect to their friends and family members and anyone that they think would find the service helpful. Most of these referrals happen because of the overall client experience. So I know we've also talked about how clients are always going to remember how you made them feel and how your support felt. So this is going to happen, because these clients are rarely saying, "Oh, my agent just filled out all the paperwork and that was great." They're saying, "Hey, my agent made everything easier." And that is what is going to be important when they're referring you as an agent and your process to their friends, their family members, the people that they care about. Again, you want to be the agent that's making everything easier. And so it's going to happen for you when clients feel supported. And Utility Connect is seeking to create more moments where those clients are feeling supported and where you feel confident because you've already prepared for different parts of your process. And that feeling is what is going to drive more reviews for you, more referrals for you, more repeat business for you. And that's exactly what we want to see for you as agents. Now, I know this was a ton of information, but the key takeaways that I want you guys to have is that we're seeking to help you scale without adding more work. Utility Connect is trying to be powerful by helping the agents who, right now, they're personally handling utility recommendations, internet research, moving resources, insurance referrals, home service coordination. They're trying to handle all of this. And we want to take those tasks off of your plate. So that's how we're trying to help agents grow. And that's also what top agents have already taken off of their plate. They are already using services like this to make their process easier, more streamlined, delegate the tasks that are not actively contributing to the relationship growth that they're seeking to have with their client base. And your growth is going to be limited by the time that you have to put in. So you don't want to have to be spending time on these tasks. Utility Connect is allowing you to delegate these tasks so you can provide a better client experience. And again, scaling your process, your current system is not about doing more. It's about creating the systems that allow more people to be served at a higher level. So that's how we want to help you. These are the different, more strategic ways that you can implement Utility Connect. Again, we're going to create those tools for you. So I was already seeing some of your comments. A lot of agents are asking for these scripts. So we're super excited to share those with you guys and put them in easily accessible areas, particularly like your dashboard. There is a marketing center. So under partner resources, that marketing center is still there. This is where we're going to start loading up those different scripts, different flyers for you. We're going to add some more variety to the materials that you have accessible already. So absolutely, I'm going to make sure that you guys have access to that. But I also want to make sure that you know exactly how to get in touch with our team. So I know I've shared this a lot, but definitely email us anytime, success@utilityconnect.net. You can also call us directly at 469-706 9320. And just a couple more things that I want to leave you guys with. So the agents who are getting the most value from Utility Connect, they're not necessarily the agents that have the biggest teams or the biggest budgets. The agents that are really benefiting from this program are the ones who consistently position themselves as the trusted advisor in the process. They're creating systems that deliver an exceptional experience every time. That consistency is what is really leading them towards success. So, Utility Connect is not just a service. We want to be more than that for you. It's a tool that's going to help you save time and your clients save time. It enhances the client experience, it strengthens your relationship, and it's helping you to build a more scalable business. So I do really appreciate the time that you guys took to tune in. Again, I know that was a ton of info, but absolutely wanted to make sure that I'm helping to set you guys up for success, give you guys these different strategies that you can utilize. And I'm really excited to see how it works when you guys implement these scripts or making these updates to your workflow, different marketing strategies. Please reach out to our team if we can help with any of that. Again, we want to be able to support you in that way. So, super excited to hear how it works for you guys. For those of you that are still with me, if you have any questions, I absolutely would love to answer that, clarify anything for you. So please let me know if there's anything that I can kind of clarify there. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time. Really excited for you guys to test these out and see how they work for you.